Yes, hello and welcome to This Is Fans Only. Is there anything better in the world right now than Scottish football? Depends who you support, I suppose. If you say Rangers, maybe not. Another fascinating week in Scottish football. We are joined by, I think, what is it, 6 or 7 fans from all across Scotland, all the divisions, to give us their insight into what's happened over this week. As ever, I'm joined by a guest. We're joined by Marc Jennings, Celtic fan and Clydebank cosplayer. It's the best way to describe you, Marc. Marc, talk to me about Celtic. Are you a happy man just now?
Do you know what? I think it's a bit amazing that we're even still in it. Given how poor we've been all season, we've really been scraping over the line. Obviously, done the same at the weekend against Hibs with 10 men. And that should have been a thing when they went down to 10 men. It should have been like, right, let's try and get a few goals here to claw back the goal difference, because we're still a few behind Hearts in that regard. And then we barely go over the line, just getting the win. So I think the fact we're still in it is a miracle. So with these 3 games coming up, it's going to take an even bigger miracle for us to just win those 3 games, let alone actually win the league, which still might not even happen if we do that.
In a true Scottish media fashion, we're going to get you giving your Celtic opinion at the same time we've got a Rangers fan giving his opinion, because that's what we call balance here. So that will happen later. If you've not seen the show before, thank you for watching. It's called This Is Fans Only. The idea is we don't have any pundits. We don't have any former players. We don't have any former managers. We just want fans' opinions. This is episode 4. You can check out the previous 2 up on YouTube and the BBC Sports Scottish Football channel. You can get some good ones. There's a lovely bit, Marc, when we had Dunfermline played Falkirk, and the Falkirk fan was on holiday in Florida and had taken time out his holiday to watch it, and just said how much it ruined his holiday and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff you want. We've had Celtic fans goading Rangers fans and vice versa. Hearts and Hibs. A wee Dundee Derby one last week. Check them all out. And this week is no other. An excellent weekend in Scottish football. We've always got the playoffs kicking off tonight. We'll be chatting to 2 fans who represented their clubs in the playoff tonight. Yesterday was the big game. I was at your house, which is how the rumours start. Just before kick-off, you went straight in to watch it. Let's get our first guest in. So joining us, actually, do you know what? We're going to get our Hearts fan, Richard, to join us. Richard, you can come in now. So we're joined by Richard Cobb, Hearts fan. We've got some questions that we want people to answer down in the comments. So the 3 questions you can put in the YouTube comments. Our producer, James, who's in the corner in the chair, is going to be reading them out as we go. 3 questions we got
already, Ray, if you want, which Shanklin TT96 says.
Who do you think they support?
Hearts, glorious.
Is that can you tell producer James is a Hearts fan? So there we go. So 3 questions is, who's going to win the title? We've asked that every week, and you'd be surprised how few people have said Hearts, Marc.
To be honest, I've thought Hearts are going to win it for months and months, because it just feels like the vibes are there. And actually what happened after I left you yesterday, I walked in the house just at the start of the game and I seen the guy on the park singing the Hearts song, and I thought, they've won this league. This is it.
So you get, if Hearts don't win the league, will it be a disaster for them? And this is the one that I've chipped in. Who is the one player that you think your club cannot afford to lose this summer? Because if you're an Athletic fan, you've already seen that you've released 4 or 5 players, Paul McGowan being one of them. Ross County have come out. We'll be chatting to a County fan later, which I'm actually really looking forward to. I like Ramsey. Good guy, but also County is so funny, isn't it? So funny. And we'll be chatting through that with him, because Jordan White's gone. Lots of players have gone from Ross County. So last night was hyped up as the biggest game at Tynecastle in a generation. And somehow it's still delivered. Even the Edinburgh Derby last week, which quite a lot of the time is a rubbish game, apart from a 95-minute winner from 45 yards. The Jambles, awful in the first half, but thankfully Rangers can only play 45 minutes. They bounced back, won the second half quite convincingly. A lovely irony in Rangers fan Lauren Shanklin scoring the winner. We're joined by Richard Cobb. Richard, Hearts fan, first up, is the title heading down to Gorgie? Maybe not then. Maybe not for Richard. Yeah, he's teasing us. Richard, can you hear us? Give us a nod if you can hear us. Oh, Richard's time delay is insane.
Issue is, Hearts are doing so well. I've been on a couple of podcasts this week and it's absolutely killed my laptop. So is it bad?
Yeah, maybe log out and try log back in again and see if that makes a difference. Marc and I will chat about that. I don't know. I'm not your IT
Should
man.
I rejoin? Should we go to the next bit and I'll rejoin?
Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. This is how smug Hearts fans. So, Richard, log out, come back in. Did you hear that? I've been in a few podcasts and my laptop's struggling. How much is the laptop doing the work? Surely Richard's words should be doing it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. You can tell that Hearts are doing well if Richard is in high demand here for these podcasts. Come on, how many times we need a Hearts fan on various podcasts?
Yeah,
before these last couple of
that's
weeks?
a very valid point. We'll get Richard to rejoin there. We've got producer James is a Hearts fan, so we'll come to you for that. You were in Tynecastle yesterday. You said to us, to me when I came in today, that it was the best atmosphere you think you've had, the loudest.
Best, like there's been a lot of good games at Tynecastle, but that is comfortably the best atmosphere from European games, from the game we beat Aberdeen under the Romanoff era where we finished second, to the one that is, my dad was there, so my dad's 71. To him, it's the best atmosphere since they beat Bayern Munich in 1989.
Wow.
God, that's a wild sentiment, isn't it? Then for you, that Rangers goal goes in, and then halftime comes. Do you see yourself coming back? Because you've been down 1-0 in the last 3 games, is it?
It was you feel like the team could, but you knew they, like McInnes needed to change it, and you knew that they needed to come out sort of all guns blazing, and that was the fear of just, what if we don't do that? But you knew if we come out and we start well, that like we've won so many games from losing positions, so many games with late goals, that as long as we didn't concede that a second, you thought, we could do this. And
you're not an Old Firm fan,
no.
So do you have that mindset of they're always going to come back? Yeah. Which we've seen so many times in our lifetime.
The best way to say it is, I said to you, I think a couple of weeks ago, that this whole title race has felt like being 1-0 up against Rangers or Celtic at half time.
Yeah.
You don't want to get carried away.
Absolutely.
Because you know what happens. But we're now 1-0 up and we're in injury time,
I think, see, because of that very thing, though, I think, like, Hearts fans now, like, will be more scared of Celtic in a way. And maybe not now, because obviously it's looking a wee bit closer to Hearts winning it. But I think this season, like, other fans or like that don't support Celtic will be more scared of Celtic than the Celtic fans have confidence in the team, because we've been watching them and going, we have been terrible for most of the season.
Yeah.
We've no other striker basically, and like, but we have managed to go over the line in a lot of these games. But Hearts have done the exact same thing.
It's funny, it's like you feel like this season's just shown how we've all sort of become conditioned to what you expect in Scottish football.
Yeah.
That you expect Celtic to win all these games, you expect Rangers to be great, you expect Hearts bubble to burst, which has never happened, and we all, just because that's what's happened for 40 years, is that's what you expect, and it's just never happened.
Well, let's take a different point of view on it, because obviously the game last night, Hearts came out on top. The Rangers discourse has been incredible, because at one point at halftime they showed the league table. There's 1 point separating the top 3. It's very exciting, and now Rangers are staring at a 7-point deficit behind Celtic, behind Hearts. The title might be out of reach. And we've got a Rangers fan. So let's chat to him. An Old Firm showdown, huge stakes, no margin for error this Sunday. So joining us now is Rangers fan Ian Mitchell from the This Is Ibrox podcast. Ian, first up, talk to us about yesterday. Is that just a standard Rangers performance just now?
You guys just talked about being like conditioned to what Rangers do, what Celtic do. See, as a Rangers fan, you get conditioned to think this is going to go wrong somewhere. And it did. It's just what we do. Yeah, we play in halves, we play in stages, we make some strange substitutions, which I think is why the Danny Rule, out brigade has came out quite loudly last 24 hours or so. But yeah, from being such a strong position at half time, starting to think, okay, this might be going well for us. Surprisingly, here we go. Everyone I spoke to in group chats and on Twitter and the pub where I was watching the game at half time yesterday said, this has been good, but we know what tends to happen. And exactly that happened. So yeah, a few amateur mistakes, a few strange decisions in there from Danny Rule, and we've flung it all away.
Where do you stand on that? Because you said the Danny Rule brigade is out. I was quite surprised when I was reading them last night, because up until 4 weeks ago, it was the form table since he joined, and Rangers are 10 points ahead of any other club. I understand the accusations of he doesn't win big games. You look at ones that maybe slip by, the cup quarter final being the big one when it went to extra time, and what Rangers have 24 shots to Hearts' 1 or something like that.
And the League Cup semi when Martin O'Neill was there the first time.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts? Like, should you keep him?
You try and build an evidence file for like, right, should they stay? Should they go? And if you think, why should they stay? You mentioned it, but he had such a good job early on to get us back in a title race. I think the signings that he made and the guys that he got out the door in January all made a lot of sense to me. All ticked a lot of boxes, a lot more youth, that guys with experience. We get guys like Rothwell, Danilo, Inciala, these guys who are never going to be Rangers players out the doors. All that, perfect. But then you start to think, well, what else? You got the Parkhead win, which was massive, but I think any random 11 guys could have beat that Nancy team, to be fair. So then you think, okay, why should he go? And then that's when you're saying you've got the Celtic games back-to-back are still very fresh in people's memories. The Livy game where we didn't start playing until 80 minutes. The Motherwell game last week. Yesterday happens. You start to kind of build that case file and think, oh, hang on, there's quite a lot of red flags going off there.
But is it down to him? Because you just mentioned about like having that attitude at half time, like, oh, we know what happens. And there was a lot of chat yesterday after the game about like, is there a psychological problem with that squad and the Rangers team? And I know people do get on at Tavernier a lot for that type of thing as well. But do you think there is a sort of psychological barrier with that Rangers team in terms of getting over the line in these type of games?
Yeah, so with the podcast that we do, we get to go to like press conferences and stuff, which is great insight. And Daniel's been asked a lot lately for the last 2 or 3 months about mentality. Anytime Rangers drop points, it is what's the mentality, it's the mentality, blah, blah. He always bites back at it quite aggressively, as if like, no, there's no mentality issues. He said the same again yesterday, but the best tweet I saw over the weekend is the fact that we've lost 2 games all season before Motherwell, lost to Hearts twice. Everyone's been losing to Hearts, that's fine. When you then get into these crunch moments and the split happens, you've got all the build-up, the hype to it, and then you lose 2 more on the bounce. That's got to be mentality. I mean, I know Tavernier gets that stick and that flack a lot for disappointment and captain failure things from all the Celtic fans, but he's been part of the same group. I see you smiling, Mark. He must have been one of those.
You've seen my tweets, have you?
Yes. But you've got to look at like the leadership on the pitch, and you've got guys who are still finding their way as Rangers players. There's not many Rangers players who have won things, especially not won things consistently. I think that's what it's going down to.
There's a bit of history repeating itself though, because like obviously that's been the case through multiple managers, and I even seen yesterday was it Kevin Muscat was in the crowd doing his Michael Beale when he was going. He was in there when he was going.
I think it's a guy that looks like him. I think.
Oh, is it not him?
I think. Yeah, very like him, but I think it's just a lookalike.
Can I ask you this, Ian? Because you said something that I'm always fascinated with when it comes to Rangers. Because you said when Inciala and your Danilos went out, they're not Rangers players. It feels like you've not had a Rangers manager. There's always that Rangers-minded kind of thing, Rangers players. Who or what is a Rangers player? What is that?
So it's the $1 million question. Yeah, because I think at the start of this season, Russell Martin came in and no one was very keen on Russell Martin being here. Like, that's fact. But a lot of the signings made sense. And you see someone like Joe Rothwell came in, right? And I'd seen him a little bit at Leeds, a little bit before, and thought, right, this guy knows how to play. He's got a good level head on him. He should be able to handle those pressure moments. And I think that's what it comes down to. Like, in the big games, in the big moment, can you stand up and demand the ball, take on, win your 1v1s, all those cliche things. But we don't have guys that can win the battle, if you want to say it that way. We just have a bunch of either young players who are finding their way and new to Rangers and all this stuff, or guys who have failed for 2, 3, 4 seasons. Butlins, your Tavs, these guys. What is a Rangers player these days is a very hard question, because I think it's like we get a lot of like older fans that watch our podcast, and he's bumped into the games and they talk about like Souness and Terry Butcher in the 90s. We're not going to have that period again. These guys don't exist. But
I tell you who is Lauren Shankland.
Yeah, well, do you know, I wanted to bring this up, Ian. So I would say 7 years ago, I think it was Boxing Day 2019. I think that's roughly, could be 2018, could be slightly after. I did Off the Ball on Boxing Day, and our guest in the studio was Lauren Shankland when he was an Ayr player. And all he talked about was how much he loved Rangers. So much so that one of the Ayr management team messaged in and said, tell him to shut up because we're trying to get him a move somewhere. That I've met him a few times. He loves it. And when you look at yesterday, especially I said to producer James is a Hearts fan, it seemed like at the end of the game, Rangers had 3 strikers, a right winger, no left winger, and a few other kind of random bits. When you look at Danilo, 6 million, when you look at Chermiti, 9 million, you look at Miovski, 2.3 allegedly, all these different ones, Lord Shankland has been there the whole time. And also, not just the fact that he would score goals for you. If you sign him, he doesn't score goals for Hearts, which is such a big thing.
Can I say something here as well? I think in the last 3 years, nobody's scored more goals against Rangers than Lon Shanklin.
Is that right?
Can I also say that, see, you've just described Ray, a right winger, no left winger. That is a proper Rangers team, if you ask me.
Nice.
Yeah, Ian's given, yeah. And so when you look at next year, the question we're going to ask everyone is, who's the one player you must keep when you look at if it is Danny Rowe coming in for next season, if it is a new manager, which would be, in my opinion, insanity, but could be a thing. You'll be bringing back Finlay, Curtis. You'll have a few exciting players. Like what I always find with the Old Firm, and both of you are guilty of this, Rangers and Celtic.
Oh, aye, two sides of the same coin. We've heard it all before.
Last September, Giga was the best defender ever to grace Scottish shores, and then Max Aarons was the future. And then that dog was playing left back. Like it's been
Is that Peter Lovington's dog?
But it's mad that you've trained your dog to bark when I say Giga or Aarons. That is an incredible talent. But when you look at that, who are you building this team around?
Exactly. And you look at the guys in the team who you might think we would build around, like Fernandez, maybe Raskin, maybe Chermiti. It's the guys that are all linked with moves away. So you're left thinking, well, if you do change manager, even if you don't, obviously, it's going to be a mass change there, because people talk about how Rangers, I think a few weeks ago, were like the settled side. You know, the manager everyone was quite happy with, the board everyone was content with, good few assets and players in there you can build around, as we said. And Celtic were like the bin fire and what they're going to be like and stuff. It's completely flipped. It's completely flipped. Yeah. And now I've seen people tweeting as Rangers fans, "Oh, sell them all. Who cares? They can all go now." It's obviously very raw after defeat. You're going to get that. But there's not a lot in there that you think, okay, they will definitely be here next season. And that's a bit of worry for me. It's why I would think maybe Rule should stay for that continuity a wee bit. Mm-hmm. But if we lose at Parkhead next week, that noise is only going to get louder.
See, to be honest, what Ian's describing there is exactly how a lot of Celtic fans feel. I think about a lot of our squad as well, because see, if you were to ask me who's the one player you'd want to keep, like, see, other than maybe like Carter Vickers, who's obviously been out for most of the season and is probably going to go in the summer anyway, I would imagine. So? I don't, unless the only reason I think he would stay would be fitness issues, really, if he's just needing to get back to full fitness. Yeah. But I think that, like, there was a lot of chat about him going before he got injured. But other than him, like, there's not a lot in that team. And again, looking at the Hearts game yesterday, when you look at that Hearts squad and you see the likes of Braga and Kizarides and all these guys, that looks like a league-winning team. See, when you go down the list of the Celtic team, it doesn't look like a league-winning team. We've
got both. I think that's very valid. We've got both of you here. Obviously, the Rangers-Celtic game is this Sunday. It's what it was. I was talking to my son. My son's 6 years old. I've brainwashed him into being a Thistle fan. And he was like, I want to watch this. And I was like, why? And he went, because both teams could be sad. And I was like, you get it. You really get it. This is great. So, like, Ian first, from a Rangers point of view, I take it you've given up on the title and this is just stopping Celtic winning the league just now?
That's exactly it. Yes, the cup finals have run out, sadly. This is just, let's try and have a laugh and ruin Celtic's season. So it comes down to
Rangers are the most powerful as well, and they're exactly. Charged by spite.
Yeah,
the pressure's off for us as well. So we'll be world beaters again.
Are you confident?
You can never be confident as a Rangers fan. It's just setting yourself up to be disappointed, to be fair. Yeah. But I watched Celtic quite a few times this season. Obviously, I don't think they are what they were. It's safe to say. Even yesterday, again, I've been quite vocal on podcasts, which has come back to bite me in the last 24 hours, that Hearts aren't very good to watch. They just kind of get the job done. Yes. I think with all three of the top teams there, you just don't know until you're watching them in live and seeing what's happening. And even in that, we saw at Parkhead in January, the game could just flip at half-time. Saw it yesterday. So it really just depends. And as I say, I think if Rangers do lose, I think it could be Danny Rill's kind of exit from the club, sadly.
And Mark, how do you feel about the game on Sunday?
I mean, Celtic has just been scraping through every game we're playing, including the two against Rangers, which like was kind of amazing. We got through them, but without losing. But like, see, when we're like really scraping by against like 10 men at Hibs and stuff like that, like going into these last three games of Rangers, Motherwell away and Hearts, you're going, and like based on the performances and us scraping by in these games against like technically easier,
The so-called, yeah.
the
bottom
so-called
of the
easier
top
games.
six, yeah.
I mean, the world in which this team could somehow win it. But the one thing we do have in our favour is, and the reason we're still in it at all is the Martin O'Neill factor. He has somehow managed to drag us into this last week and still be in the fight when we really should have absolutely no right to be there. So it's really just that, and it would be an incredible thing. So it's when I look at Celtic's chances, it's not really the players on the park that give me hope. It's the guy in the dugout.
Yeah.
And him and even Fozzie and stuff like that. There's some wee signs of going, maybe we could pull this off, but it sort of defies all logic, to be honest.
Well, you told me a stat that Martin O'Neill lost the league twice on the final day of the season. So it could be a third time, which just gives me a wee smile.
Well,
I don't know why.
What I was sort of thinking, right, because like Martin O'Neill's last game, the first time round was as we call it Black Sunday, they call it Helicopter Sunday, right? But there was a world, if Rangers were still kind of in it till that last day, and it required like if Rangers were going to win the league, if it was a draw at Celtic Park on the last day, I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if Martin O'Neill instructed his team to concede an own goal to get the helicopter turning towards Celtic Park just so his Hearts can lift the trophy.
Well, we've got you, Ian. If you stay on for a little sec, let's bring back in a Hearts fan. So if you're just tuning in and thinking typical BBC, they're starting with a Rangers or a Celtic thing instead of Hearts winning league. We had a Hearts fan. It turned out his internet was from 1986, from Albert Kidd's time as well. So let's try that. Let's see if we can get Richard. Richard, can you hear us now? Give us some chat.
I can. So in keeping with yesterday, I wanted to start badly and then improve. So that's hopefully what's going to happen. So it was basically a replica of the game yesterday. It was all about the aesthetic. It was deliberate completely. So.
Big fan of you having 9 minutes to think up that one line, and it did work out, so don't worry. Ian, you've said to us there, you've been caught out on record on various podcasts saying Hearts aren't that very good. After yesterday's game, watching your team lose them for what I believe is the third time this season, what is your thoughts now?
They're okay, I guess. Yeah. No, you got to credit them. They get the job done, and I think what Mark said there about like having faith in Martin O'Neill, and he will drag you through it. I think the Hearts fans, Hearts players know that Derek McInnes will fix problems, and it's why I'm bringing it back to Rangers naturally. But I don't think Rangers fans have that belief in Danny Rule, because once we saw it with the Motherwell boss last week, once something changes in the game, we then can't fix it. So again, just having that faith in their manager, I think is everything at this stage, and we don't have that.
Yeah, Ian, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions before we go. Richard, would you like to refute anything of Ian's allegations about Hearts not being a good side?
Well, I've quite enjoyed it. I've quite enjoyed sort of Hearts flying under the radar. I think it's helped us actually in the long run, because it's a lot of the focus has been on sort of Motherwell, for example, till that kind of fell apart. And I think Hearts have sort of slowly gone about their business, and I quite like that. Nobody's enjoyed watching Hearts, and I think Hearts' main problem has been teams like Kilmarnock, Livingston, St Mirren, teams like that. So top six is a walk in the park by comparison, really. I think because we've been able to play our boring football, which beats the teams from Glasgow. So fair play.
This is what you want, by the way. Just goading each other. Ian, I think you've been very good, very honest. Last couple of questions before we chat a little bit more about Hearts to Richard is, who's going to win the league title?
It's Hearts all day. Yes, I've ordered my Hearts top this morning, so that'll come soon. I'm fully behind the Jambos. Yes.
I didn't realise you were called Ian Black, Mitchell. That's good. Because he was mad Rangers fan, wasn't he, Ian Black?
No, Ian Black's a mad Jambo.
Is he? But he did.
Hearts, yeah.
He
played for us.
Yeah, I know.
He left Hearts, went to Rangers after the 2012 Cup final.
I just presumed he was a Rangers fan.
Scotland call up.
Yeah, he got one Scotland cap. Yeah. Because I weirdly know a lot of players that will look at. Well, I don't have a life, right? So I know that kind of stuff. And Ian, just stick the boot into Hearts one last time. How big a disaster would it be if they don't win the league?
Oh, I'm trying not to think about it, because the alternative is way worse for me, to be honest. So I'm like,
is it a bigger disaster for Rangers?
Yeah,
a bigger disaster
exactly.
for Rangers and Hearts at that stage, I think.
Yeah, that was great. I might be listening to This Is Ibrox podcast. I don't listen to fan ones, but the meltdown over the next couple of weeks is going to be very sweet. Thank you for joining us Oh, this is fans only, Ian. That was great. And then, Richard, hopefully your internet stays up. Talk to us about that game yesterday. You go 1-0 down. We said to our producer, James, Hearts have been down a lot over the last few weeks. Did you always feel like you were going to come back and do it?
No. And to be honest, it was. I think the feeling in the stadium was just overwhelming nerves, really. I think even when sort of Scatchell came out at half time, I don't know if it was just the stand I was in the Roseburn stand, but I sort of felt he didn't get as good a reaction as he would have got, because we're all just sort of thinking like, what's going to happen second half, and just not knowing like the kind of performance we were going to get. So I think there was that fear. But also, I think as much Hearts just didn't know what kind of Rangers would get in the second half either, because, you know, would they go for it? Would they panic? And to be fair, I think I was surprised by the showing in the second half, but pleasantly surprised.
And Mark, for you, like, it could go down to the last game of the season. Is there a little bit of you that wants Hearts to win the league?
Do you know what? I don't grudge them at all, because I don't think, as much as it pains me to say it, Celtic don't deserve it this year. And Hearts have been brilliant, and it's taken a kind of innovation, obviously, in terms of whatever this algorithm is that they use to sign players and all the rest of it. It's taken basically Celtic and Rangers to kind of rest on their laurels and be a bit too complacent. And somebody at some point has got to have came along and done it, and Hearts have done it. The players, you know, they've got a great squad. You know, like Derry McInnes, like, been, you know, managing in Scotland for so long. He's kind of worked his way up to get to this point. It would be an amazing achievement. And not only, obviously, is it good for Scottish football, but see, be honest, like, as a Celtic fan, I think with Celtic fans wanting so much change at the club and all that, losing the league to Hearts is the sort of thing that's going to be a catalyst for massive change. But because see if we somehow pulled it off and won the title, it would give the Celtic board a bit of like, well, we look at what we managed to pull off. So, and it would just maybe reinforce that kind of complacency that's been there. So I think it would be great for Hearts. I was kind of like, just as long as Rangers don't win it. So yesterday, I was so conflicted yesterday, because when Rangers scored and it showed you the leak, I was like, I don't hate the look of that. Celtic 1 point behind, you know, I don't hate the look of that at all. But I was really hoping for a draw. I think that'd have been the best result for Celtic. And then when Hearts won, and then you did see the league, and then you're looking at the permutations that you're going, because we now need Hearts to drop points basically in another game and then win all our 3 games, which is probably very unlikely to happen now. So yeah, you're kind of going, fair enough. But at the very least, Rangers are out of it by the looks of it. And yeah, I wouldn't grudge them at all. I think overall it probably is good for the game.
Richard, I don't know if you heard us ask this question earlier. So we asked it to Ian, our Rangers fan. I'm going to ask Mark later. Who's that one player that you need to keep and build your team around next season? Hearts have obviously having a big recruitment. They had players in the stand, French second division players in the stand yesterday. They've already done some business. What's the name of is he a Ugandan striker you signed in January?
Oh, Rogers Mato.
Mato, and that was going to be a summer one, and then fast track. So you're already doing some business. Who do you need to keep? Who's vital to this Hearts team, Richard?
It's a hard one, because I'd probably say, obviously after the player of the years, I'd say Braga, but I'm almost resigned to losing him. I think he could be the big sort of summer signing, who could be almost the marquee for sort of Jamestown. And so I'm almost kind of resigned to that. But I think beneath it as well, I think obviously there's a lot of talk about the analytics and how big a difference that's made. But I think even looking at last night with Kingsley scoring, Shanklin scoring, Steinwender having a great performance, Halkett header and everything. And I think if you look closer, it's actually that the spine of the team's already been there. And I think it's these players that are the core. So obviously there's a lot of talk of Beningame and Devlin probably on their way out. So a couple of weeks ago, I would have said Devlin. But obviously the last 3 results we've had, we've managed without him as well. So to be honest, I think, you know, if you're looking at zoning in on one player, I'd say Shanklin's obviously been the one who's been the big difference. You could argue he has been you know, with Jamestown, with I think everything which has come in, I think the fact we've managed to, or McInnes has managed to get him to stay, I think that's been massive. So I think moving forward, if we've got him, he's the great linchpin for the team.
And surely for the future, if he's planning on kind of sustaining this long term, you want to get Craig Gordon signing your contract.
Yeah, but to be fair though, I mean, like looking at the Scotland, the goalkeeping situation just now, I'm like, if he can even get remotely fit, I'd be very surprised if he's not on the plane. As to who starts, I've no idea, but I feel like this should be his final season.
He's supposed to be back training this week.
So when I spoke to him, he was aiming to be back straight after the Ivory Coast game, which was over a month ago. So
Player of the Year awards on Sunday night. He said he expected to be back in full training this week.
that's good. That's good to know. Final question for you, Richard. Who's going to win the league?
I mean, last night it just felt different. I've not been to a huge amount of games this season, and I think with last night managing to go along and just sort of getting swept up with it, I couldn't say anybody but Hearts. I think there was just that feeling, turning the game round and looking at who we've got in the next couple of games, not taking anything for granted. But if we chuck it now, I'll be off social media for the rest of the year. So that's maybe an incentive. Not sure.
I mean, I'm a neutral. I've openly said for the last 2-3 months in media that I would love for Hearts to win the league for the Harry Milne connection. One last little soundbite from yourself, Richard. In maybe 5-10 minutes time, we're going to be joined by a Ross County fan. Any message?
Medicine, I guess, that could be it. So that's going to be the obvious one. But I feel for them, but at the same time, get out them, basically.
Exactly what.
Can I say that?
Richard Cobb. Yeah, well, even with your delay, we couldn't stop you. Thank you for joining us, and this is Fans Only. It's a good way to finish. James, any comments coming in the chat? What we got?
Coming in, PTFC 7121 just says Mon the Jag.
Yes, so tonight and Friday night, obviously, we've got Dunfermline and Arbroath. We're going to be chatting some fans from them later on. They're huge games for us because someone else who works here, Stephen, we were chatting earlier, both Thistle fans, we want separate teams in that game. I'd rather play Arbroath. I think he'd rather play.
Do you not think Arbroath away is a tricky, see for a two-leg play?
It's a tough stand-up gig to do anyway. That's what you
speak for yourself. I'm pretty big in the Angus region myself. I think a lot of time the football gets neutralised there, and you're kind of it's a 0-0 a lot of the time. Yeah. What else we got coming in? Anything else?
And also Harding Ryan 42 says Aberdeen fan here. The title is Hearts to lose. Aberdeen should keep Graham Shinnie if they can.
That surprises me because all the social media I see is Shinnie and Nielsen. Nielsen's obviously gone now, but just abuse left, right, and centre.
Shinnie's a leader. You see where Aberdeen are, and you look at Shinnie and you think, God, he's the one player there who will. The Hearts team, that's why Hearts are doing so well. There's a team full of those guys that are going to grab the team with the scruff of the neck and get them up the park. And Shinnie, for all he's older, and maybe his legs have gone a little bit, he's the one Aberdeen player that you'd think he's going to do that to them.
Yeah. Can I just say before we move on to Hearts as well, James, like I would say, and I know I said that this is what I seen yesterday just before the game, but see that HEARTS song? It is an absolute tune. It's like neutrally, it is a belter, and it's not dissimilar to like watching Forest last week when they play Mull Kintyre, and you just go, that is a great anthem, and like seeing the fans celebrating, singing that song, you're going, fair play to them. That is a tune.
It's the third time now I think they've had Colin Chisholm, so Colin who sang the 1986 version of the Hearts song. They've brought him back. And he's brilliant. It's like the whole stadium. It's that way where everybody, you're in the ground, I don't know if I should sing or not, and everybody waits to the chorus. Basically, they've got him just to get rid of everybody's embarrassment. He goes on the pitch with a microphone, starts from the very beginning, and everyone else on the ground goes, well, we're not that guy.
Yeah. I love this, a wee spelling correction as well in it, when he slags the people off. Also, mental, you're bringing back someone from 1986 as well. Like, you think the trauma would be gone by then.
1986, Henry Smith was sitting front row
Was he?
of the main stand.
I said to you, I watched the highlights the other day of that game, and he was interviewed after as a talking head.
My dad was at Love Street that day when Celtic won it, and he always talks about that, and so he's convinced it's going to be a repeat of history. But so touch with that, and the Martin
fact at Paisley, word came through that Kidd had scored at Dens Park, and all the Celtic fans thought it was Walter Kidd, the Hearts player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
That's mad.
Remember, we've got various fans. You'll notice, I think later on we're going to have our first repeat fan coming back, but as in, so if you want to get involved, you want to keep in touch, we've got playoffs coming up, you can get in touch. Email us at thisisfansonly@bbc.co.uk. Stick it in the comments on YouTube below. Obviously, the link, if you've just tuned in, the link stays up for the next week. So if you missed anything, you can go back and watch it there. Now, this is the kind of interesting sub-story underneath the Premiership title. For months, people have been saying Motherwell would have a say in where the title ends up, and now it's happening. With back-to-back home games against Hearts and Celtic, the Steelmen right at the centre of the title race, they could decide where things go. So the big question is, who do Motherwell fans want to win the league? So joining us now is Motherwell fan, God Bonds, Gogsy. You'll know him as, you'll have seen him online everywhere. Gogsy, what's up with this Motherwell team? That's off the top of the head, 1 win in 7. It could be 1 win in 8. It's proper Jekyll and Hyde stuff, isn't it?
It is, but first of all, thanks for having me on tonight. But had you offered me a win at Ibrox and a defeat against Falkirk, then I'd have taken it over the last 2 weeks.
Okay, interesting. Okay, right. Okay, so for this year, we've heard all the plaudits about your Bertolascu turning Stephen O'Donnell into Cafu and bringing in Austrian second division players like Elijah Just and just making him a Player of the Year contender, runner-up, kind of in and about there. What's it been like for you this season? Has it been surreal?
It has been surreal, yeah, definitely. I mean, to be playing liquid football like that is having had Stuart Kettlewell as our manager. It's just a brilliant transition. I mean, obviously we had Michael Wimmer in as a stopgap, and things were starting to look up under Wimmer, and then he had to go to the German third division. But Jens coming in, it was a sort of like the Wimmer era, so to speak, was a good transition because we sort of had expectations when Jens came in, and he's taken us astronomical in terms of the way we play football. But I mean, we are prone to our own mistakes. I mean, that's the individual errors that have limited us to fourth, which is a crazy statement. But yes, it's absolutely brilliant.
And for you, you've seen Motherwell more than a lot of people over the past few years. How do you see the rest of the season going? Because those home games against Hearts and Celtic are huge. 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday night, by the way, I'd like on record, is an awful kickoff time. But for you, what do you think is going to happen? Talk to us how these next 3 games for Motherwell play out.
I just want us to beat Hearts and Celtic, and then we're on the beach for the Hibs game at the end of the
season. How likely is that, do you think, Gogsy?
I think it's more likely than us getting a result against Falkirk right now. Because, I mean, the way we play football, things have been easier against Hearts, Celtic and Rangers this season than playing against Falkirk, so to speak. Because, I mean, Falkirk took 10 points off us this season, but they had us sussed because they play a similar style, but not as advanced, so to speak. But the way we've had a lot of joy playing against Hearts despite not winning against them. We've obviously beaten Celtic and Rangers, so it wouldn't surprise me if we won our next 2 games and then just lost 3-0 to Hibs on the last day.
Mark, are you worried about playing Motherwell?
Yeah, I actually was saying that I thought because Celtic just had to win those couple of games, and I was like, obviously we're at Celtic Park for the Rangers game and the Hearts game, and they kind of take care of themselves, but see that Wednesday night against Motherwell, that's the one I'm going, I could see that far enough.
We a similar question we asked Richard a minute ago. You've had a lot of players that have had a lot of plaudits this week, it looks like, this year, sorry. It looks like the likes of Massimo Nisi will go. The other ones you're not really sure about. Who's the one player you must keep, do you think, to make it important for next season?
I would say Jens Bertolascu. He's the glue that keeps everything together, and I think he will stay for another season, despite everyone in the media wanting him to go to Celtic. I think he will stay for at least another year, and that will be the catalyst to us progressing next season.
Could I ask you, Gogs, to see if he did go to Celtic, how do you think he would do?
Well, I think
this is what you call in the industry research.
Right? In my opinion, Celtic's is a club that you need results first. And I think you would need a bit of patience because he's got a brand. Like, we struggled throughout the League Cup group stage because he was trying to bed in a new style. He was rotating players so everyone knew how to play. And we nearly got knocked out because we were just scraping results against the likes of Peterhead. But look at us now. I mean, it's almost worth going to penalties against Clyde, winning 2-1 in the last minute against Peterhead, and then the way we played against Rangers, we absolutely battered them 1 each on the opening day, and then from there on, we did sacrifice a lot of results because of how we played in the first few games. But then when it came to September, October time, we just took off, and it was a fantastic run. I think we went one game that we lost in about 15, which was sensational. Usually it's the other way around for Motherwell, so it was a nice change.
Yeah. It would be amazing if Jens went to Celtic and then Celtic finally signed McGinn, but it was Paul McGinn.
For looking at it as well, I remember, like, I'm a big shell. A lot of times someone will put something in front of me and I'll read it. And I was doing the Scottish Football Daily podcast, which you can get on all your podcast apps. Like and subscribe. And
shell right there, proving it.
My thing said Motherwell had drawn maybe 4 or 5 of their first 6 games or something like that. And they hadn't done that well. So the thing I read out was, are Motherwell close to crisis? And Rory Loy, who was the guest, went mental. He was like, they're the best footballing side in Scotland. Like this. Rory was proved right. When you look at it as a whole, like you said, those kind of been 3-0 up against Hearts back in, what would that be, August, September? And
August,
coming back to 3 draw. There's so many times along the way where you've lost out. Do you think you can go on next season and make a real push for it?
Well, I see this year as a foundation year. I think kicking on next season, we'll bring in a couple more players that are more suited to the style of play. We may start phasing out the likes of McGinn and O'Donnell because they're ticking on a bit now. But I just think whatever Jens wants, he can have within reason at Motherwell. Give him the keys to ML1. I don't care. I think with him at the helm, he can steer us to probably a decent push in Europe as well, because whenever we've had a start in Europe, it's been a Scottish manager. We've been absolutely awful to watch. But I think with his experience at the likes of Sparta Prague and Copenhagen as well, we will be ready for European football should we qualify.
It would be absolutely class if they'd go, you can have anything, and then reading the Daily Record one day, Motherwell
reopen Mega Bar.
Yeah, he's
brilliant.
He now owns a cinema in Hamilton. Like that's what like, he's just got that way. Gogsy, final question for you: who's winning the league?
Hearts. It would be a disaster for them not to, and if they didn't win the league now, no one ever else will.
Yeah, I do. I actually feel totally that way. I genuinely, it's the fear that kind of pushes me. Like, I'm the oldest of the 3 of us on camera just now, and I've never seen anyone but a Rangers and Celtic win. So it's gone that way. Gogsy, thank you very much for joining us, and this is Fans Only. If you've never seen Gogsy stuff, have a look at his stuff online, and hopefully see you again soon. Any comments coming in, James? Who's going to win the league?
Mikey Gibb one says Celtic are going to win the league. Hearts are going to bottle it this weekend. Celtic to beat Rangers 3-1. We've going to bottle it every weekend since September.
Yeah.
How would you feel, James? Right, because see if Motherwell got a result against Hearts the weekend, and then Celtic did beat Rangers. How would you feel going into those last 2 games?
Just keep going. Like, that's what Hearts would be like. I mean, the thing is, it's like Rangers at one point went above Hearts, like 6 weeks ago.
Yep.
Hearts, I can't remember who we played on the Sunday, and Rangers were above us.
It was the only time this.
But that would change the feeling completely if those were the results this weekend, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But then at the same point, we could go to Motherwell, win 1-0, and you guys could lose 1-0 to Rangers.
Yeah.
All of a sudden,
Probably more likely, unfortunately.
Well, in the subject of bottling, let's get our next guest on. So it's been a tumultuous time. If you're a Ross County fan, if you're a Partick Thistle fan, I find that quite funny. I'm very honest about it. We've spoke about it before when we've had Ramsey in the show. Ramsey Banks has joined us in the week that Inverness went up the way, Ross County went down the way. Not an ideal combination. Friday night didn't really go out with a bang so much as not a whimper, but not even that. Fights after the full-time whistle. I have to laugh, Ramsey, because you won't know this, but we get all the guests at the bottom of our screen before you join. And when Gogsy, our Motherwell fan, mentioned Stuart Kettlewell, you looked up like in trauma and then just looked back down. Talk to us. What's it like being a County fan just now?
Yeah, not good. I don't know. I suppose we were 1-0 up, but can you bottle something you never really had in the bag? I don't know. To be honest, though, it genuinely was. I think the last time I was on here, I told you guys that I didn't think we were going to be anywhere close, avoiding automatic relegation. And on the day of the game, I didn't think we were going to win. But it's almost cruel to give us the hope of going 1-0 up and then Airdrie going a man down and getting pegged back by Morton and then having it all whisked away. And it was just it was the same goal twice. Which pretty much sums up our season. It's like the cross in, he's not even near the penalty area. It feels like he's like close to the halfway line. It's just comical. It sums up our season. Sorry, what was the question? How does it feel to be a Ross County fan?
Yeah. The reason I asked this, Ramsey, is the last time you were on, about 2 minutes after speaking, you left a big pause and you went, I hate football. And that's what happened. Like, I was like, I get it. I've been there. Talk to us, right? Obviously, last time you were on, we talked about the demise of everything that happened previously up to then. In the last few days, you've seen like Jordan White's the one that kind of sticks out to me as going. It seems like a player coach role maybe would have suited him. It wouldn't surprise me to see him rock up at Inverness for the championship next season. Stuart Kettlewell, was it today, got appointed manager next season? Was it yesterday? Today? I can't remember. I remember reading it. And out loud, I went, oh, because I just didn't see that coming. What's it like for you?
I'm different to a lot of County fans. I think, first of all, there's no doubt that Kettlewell's not succeeded. I think
Has he made you better, Ramsey?
Yes, but not enough, and not nearly often enough. Obviously, going into the game against Wraith, we had won our last two. But I still didn't think we looked that great, to be honest. I think it is just rewarding failure. As much as I feel bad because Kettlewell in Scottish football now, with the amount of teams, this is going to sound so harsh, the amount of teams he's failed at, he's just such an unpopular figure. And I actually like him. I do, but it's so hard to look at that appointment and just look like we were in this position this time last year. And I was in the same position. It was a guy like Don Cowie. We went down, he kept the job. It's just deja vu with a different guy who is, done great things for County in the past, and that I like, but we've failed. So it just feels like despite how disastrous things are, it just feels so complacent. It's yeah, I know. It just as much as I like him, it fills me with dread, basically.
Yeah, welcome to lower league football, Ramsey. You're young. You're learning all this now, man. Like, I've been through this so many times. I remember, I think you're, 21 years old. I remember 2005-06, we Dick Campbell. We were playing the second division. We were playing Peterhead in the playoff, try to get back into the championship. We got a deflected free kick from Billy Gibson that kind of helped us go. That season, there was about 20 times I was like, I hate football. And it's what happens. It's we've had a great time chatting to the Rangers and Celtic and Hearts fans at the start of the show about who's going to win the league and all that. But this is real Scottish football. And this is, don't forget, you've gone down, but you're not like an Edinburgh City fan who's looking at the precipice of going down into the Lowland League, whatever's going to happen there. There's a chance to bounce back. Who's vitally important for you to keep in that team?
I think, first of all, on the Edinburgh City fan, I'm not going to talk about this for too long, but I still feel lucky to be a Ross County fan, because before, obviously, my time supporting County, we were like Highland League and stuff. And even though I've only ever really known us in the Premiership, I know that for such a long time that wasn't the norm. So I still feel lucky. Sorry, for the question you actually asked, I think it's not going to happen, but Noah Chilvers he almost single-handedly kept us up. I would be astonished if we keep him. I think he could easily play week in, week out in the Premiership. But he obviously came back from his ACL injury, which he was out for over a year. His first start back came against Ayr at home. We then won the next two games. and then he comes off against Wraith and we lose. I think he just made everything click. And it was the same when we got relegated from the Premiership. Obviously, we were in such good form, sort of Christmas time to the start of the year. He gets injured and we don't win a game again that season. He is an unbelievable player. If you want someone that's a little more realistic for us to keep, that I'd highlight, again, it seems harsh, but I'm honestly struggling. Like,
yeah, I can see that. I can genuinely see that, Ramsey. Like I literally watched your thought process there. And
White and Laidlaw have just left, and those two, along with I think Connor Randall, who is still at County, I don't really know how to put this, but they're sort of the last few that feel like county players rather than players who just happen to play for County.
Yeah.
Like the rest of them, I just feel so apathetic about. Actually, there's a few academy boys in there, like Dylan Smith and Josh Reed. I hope stay and do well because it's good to see academy boys playing. But I just like, even in years past, I think I've said this to you before, there have been players I can get excited about. I just like the boys in the county team at the moment. I don't get, like, even in times where we've been at the bottom of the Premiership, battling relegations before, whatever. I cannot get excited going to county games anymore because it's just the most uninspiring dross you've ever seen in your life. It just is. Like, I know I'm very doom and gloom, but there's genuinely nothing else I think I can say.
But the good thing is you've got a manager who will play exciting football, so that'll perk you up. But we've got a message coming in.
Well, sorry, you are joking, but like he did get us, like, it wasn't always sparkling, but he did get us promoted from the Championship in pretty comprehensive fashion in 2019. So it can happen, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't this time. And yeah, sorry, carry on.
What's the question?
Yeah, so on YouTube, Graham Gibb has been in touch, Ramsey, and he wants to know, will Ross County go down again next season?
I mean, I'd like to say no, but I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so. But I've just had a go at the club for being complacent, so I feel like I have to say, who knows?
Yeah.
I've just got to say that I would be all for that because personally, from a very selfish point of view, I hate having to play teams for the Highlands because Celtic seem to always end up having to go away to either Inverness or Ross County after like a European game. We always drop points, so I'd be quite happy to see Partick Thistle and all that coming back. Short journeys, but can I also just say, by the way, while we're talking,
sorry,
about
you only have to come up the road and play your B team, who's worth like 20 times the value of our starting 11.
No, but I know,
oh,
but they
what a
always lose.
hardship! Must be so difficult.
I know, but. Well, can I actually talk about one thing that is a bit of hardship in real Scottish football? Because I'm wearing the Clydebank top at the moment, and I believe what's happened with Clydebank this season is they finished second in the Lowland League, but they get denied a playoff after the team that finished first.
Yep.
They didn't. Is it their stadium?
They didn't have the license. They didn't have a C license, which I believe the team they're playing, Edinburgh City, in the playoff don't have either.
Shocking. And Clydebank never got the.
It can't go down that way. It's we could do a whole series on Lone League and Highland League. It's madness. Ramsey, final question. 100%. Final question for you, Ramsey. I don't know if you even care. Who's going to win the league in Scotland, the Scottish Premiership?
I actually do think Hearts now. The thing I was saying to all my mates before is that if the split didn't exist, then I'd say Hearts would win the league. But because of the split, I didn't think they were going to go beat Rangers and Celtic. Obviously, they could still not beat Celtic, but I think now that they've beaten Rangers, that I genuinely am. I haven't been watching the top flight as much, but I am floored by where in the split, and this is still a discussion. Like, I think Hearts went on a run a couple of years ago, fell off. Aberdeen went on that run, fell off. It feels like there have been like rumblings of someone else winning the league these past few years, and now it looks like it might actually happen. I'm pretty neutral on Hearts as a club. I'm not their biggest fan, but I am floored by that. It's unbelievable. So I actually do think Hearts will win the league now.
Yeah, I hope so. Ramsey, thank you very much for joining
That's
us.
enough for Ramsey. Yeah, Mark.
No,
yeah, Mark.
We'll chat to Ramsey.
Good to see you
You
too,
get an
mate.
unbiased opinion here.
Ramsey, we'll chat to you for next season's relegation battle, I feel. Ramsey, but I think, Ramsey, I've said this last time before, the way he speaks, it's so honest, it's so raw. It reminds me of all the times Thistle have put me through it, and I genuinely don't think Old Firm fans get it as much. I genuinely don't. And
Can I just say, it's also great to see young guys like Ramsey, like, supporters of these different teams have been so like eloquent and so good at speaking about their teams. It's great to see the young mob coming through and being so good broadcasters.
yeah, is that you trying to get a job at the Green
No,
Brigade?
I barely got that sentence out. I'm terrible at it.
Right, this bit, I mentioned earlier, we can see the bottom of the screen. This is going to be fascinating. Producer James, I think, is going to have to hit the mute button quite a lot. Obviously, the playoffs kick off tonight. We've got on the BBC Scotland channel, you could be watching Dunfermline against Arbroath.
Why would you watch Arsenal versus Atletico Madrid when you can watch that? Come on.
Genuinely, the sad thing is I honestly believe that as well. That's the worst part. Like, yeah, it's so sad. So, massive clash at East End Park tonight. And also, I have spoken about this before. I think both fans who are about to join us agree. The way the playoffs are weighted in favour of the Premiership team is an absolute joke. So, either of these teams, if they go to get promoted to the top flight, they'll have to play 6 games compared to the 2 from, it'll be Kelly or St Mirren by the looks of it. So tonight's spotlight. So joining us to look ahead are the Dunfermline fan, Ben Crawford, and from the Smokies and Wine podcast, live from a supporters bus,
Can't wait.
our broth man, Alan Innes from the Smokies and Wine podcast. Right. So first things first, Alan. Is the bus got a toilet?
Struggling a wee bit for sound here, boys. Sorry.
It's okay. We'll come back to you in a second then. Alan, is your bus got a toilet? Right, let's mute Alan for a little sec. You got us now. You got us now. I don't know what, but for some reason, Alan seemed to get us the minute he blew in his car keys. That was mad. Alan, what's your thoughts on the game tonight? Right, let's mute him a sec. We'll come back to you in a second, the supporters bus. Ben, you're obviously going to the game tonight, but live much closer. What's your thoughts? How do you feel for Dunfermline tonight?
I'm actually relatively confident. Obviously, like Arbroath have been a good side this season, kind of a bit unexpected despite their like last season, like when they went in the championship with Kelly. Obviously, they were quite up near the top end, but since going back in, they've been quite good. So I'm confident, but also wary as well, just because they have been a decent side. We've had some good results against them this season, some not so good. So it's a bit of a kind of 50-50 split. I just think that having this home leg, we need to really take advantage of that before we play them away on Friday night.
What would you rather win, Ben? Would you rather win the Scottish Cup or get promotion?
I'd probably rather win the Scottish Cup because we can go for promotion any other season. The Scottish Cup is just like the one-off type thing. Like I might never see this again.
How confident are you for that game? Because Celtic haven't been the best of shakes this season.
I know, but it's one of the ones where Celtic just feel quite inevitable in a way.
Do you know, like, when Neil Lennon, though, like, he could pull it off? I mean, that would be like basically Celtic beating Barcelona all over again, but with him in the helm.
I know, like the story is written there, obviously, with Lennon and Martin O'Neill, and Lennon's last game was against Dunfermline for Celtic and stuff like that. It's all kind of written in the stars for it to happen, and us to even make it to a Scottish Cup final is a feat in itself. But I do feel like Celtic might have the better of us, but it will only stop a good day out. So that's the best thing.
Let's try bringing Alan again. He's got the username Fermer, which is perfect. Alan, can you hear us now, Alan? Can you hear us? That's a no. It's got.
We're in a bad area, boys. I'm sorry. We're just coming into Fife.
Unfortunately, Alan is also doing VAR for the game tonight.
we're at some case a second. We're getting your ass roundabout like.
Right, okay, this is the beauty of it. Let's mute Alan again while he's on a roundabout. Ben, I don't know if you drive. Can you give them directions to a bit of a good section?
I don't know what bit of Fife you sent to get this bad a signal. It's quite decent around here, but
that's fair. Let's ask you the question we've been asking everyone else. Who's the one player at Dunfermline need to keep for next season? Obviously, you've got so many Scotland youth internationals at the club just now. Some players in the team of the season. Who's key for next season?
I mean, there's been a fair few that have come in and performed really well. I think there's one that will be off, and I think that's Jeremiah Chilliquah-Mullen. He's the Scotland under-21 captain. He's out of contract at the end of the season as well. I know there's been a few teams kind of sniffing about and watching him and stuff. So I think
how high can he go? Do you think, Ben?
He's definitely able to kind of perform in a sort of mid to top 6 team, I would say, for at the moment. Like an Aberdeen would probably take him and do well. A Hibs type team, you know. I think that would be a kind of good jump up. Just to test his level, but he's obviously been very good for us. And alongside that, the likes of Robbie Fraser, Charlie Gilmore, and Andy Todd have been the main standouts, obviously. And even Aston Oxborough, who's come in as a goalkeeper, who have struggled for a good goalkeeper. But I'd say Aston's been quite a good one on loan for Motherwell. So I'd be happy if we could keep like a lot of those type of players around. I think Chilliquah-Mullen will be away though.
Yeah, it's whenever I've seen them filming this season, he's looked very, very good. So have the Todd brothers. John Todd, I think, is very underrated as well. Let's try one more time with a supporters bus and get a Hearts fix. So,
well, I don't know, Ken, if you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Right, so that's a no then. That's a no. So, Alan,
do you have
can you
a
hear
bathroom
me?
on the bus and a bit of paper?
We can hear you, but yeah, maybe we'll go to smoke signals. Let's do that. Right, let's mute him for just now, and then we'll get him to play out. So we could. This is the beauty. So as our producer said to us earlier, see, because it's YouTube, we can try stuff. And what we've learned today, trying stuff always doesn't work. That's a good lesson, James, isn't it? Ben, let's round this off for tonight. Give us a prediction of what you think the score will be tonight.
I'll go quite confident. I'll go 2-0 Dunfermline tonight, and then our both on Friday night. It will be a bit of a different game, obviously, with just the different circumstances and weather that could be there. But I'll go for 2-0 tonight. Hopefully, we can take a decent lead into Friday.
Can we try and get the camera on me? Do you think you'll win, Alan?
We will win tonight, yes.
Yeah.
What's
no point?
1 us.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's
There we go.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can hear us now. Great. Okay. What it took you so long?
Do you have a toilet on your bus? Do you have a toilet on your bus, Alan? We need to know.
No, right. Okay. Okay.
Go on
Mark,
again.
can you do you have a toilet on the bus?
Tell you.
Alan, what a way to end it. Well, guess I think the best way of doing it is Ben, I'm going to ask you the same question because it is Fife. Do you have a toilet in your house?
Yes, 100%.
Yes.
Alan, one last question. Do you have a toilet on your bus?
Do you have a toilet on your bus?
Yes, we do.
That's how we're ending it. That's how we're ending it. Alan, Ben, what a contribution. Good luck tonight. I hope you both lose to Thistle. And thank you very much for joining us. And this is Fans Only. Mark, excellent work there. What I didn't really understand was Alan, our fan, doing the 2 pointing and then 1 there as if we wouldn't have got. It was like he was ordering a beer in Thailand.
Yes, I don't understand. How did he know when to speak if he couldn't? If he couldn't hear
I
us?
get the feeling someone else in the bus might be watching YouTube and giving him a shout.
Right.
That is the vibe I got. Or
He knows when he's off, mate.
Or he was
on mute.
absolutely at it. Also, in the bottom, he is actually showing us his toilet on the camera.
Yeah, that's a good time to end.
Yes, Alan, show us the toilet again. Show us back.
YouTube.
Right, let's get him. God, Jay.
That would have been more like OnlyFans.
What's his
And
point?
you told me trying things wasn't going to work.
Yeah, we nearly saw his bro smoking there on the way to the toilet, so that was interesting. Marc Jennings, thank you very much for joining us. James, remember, you can get in touch in the comments all the way through. Anything else there before we wrap up?
Tommy Armstrong says, as a Ger, happy with the Hearts title one.
Yeah, it's funny how that's happened.
Can I plug my show before we go?
Of course you can.
I've got a show out now on BBC iPlayer and the BBC Scotland comedy YouTube channel called Why Vote. It's about Scottish election. If you're undecided on who to vote for this Thursday, check it out. And come see me at the Fringe as well.
There's something funny about you saying, can I plug my show after we just watched a man from Angus show us his toilet in the bus? There's no rules here, Mark. Thank you very much. Remember to like and subscribe on the BBC Sport Scottish Football YouTube page. That is bumping up the numbers consistently. Numbers are going up all the time, so that really helps. If you want the chance to join us and talk about your team, maybe you could be in a supporters bus, maybe you could show us your facilities, anything like that. If you've got a toilet at your house you want to show off, you've just got it tiled, maybe newly grouted, this is Fans Only at bbc.co.uk. Thanks for watching. This is Fans Only. We'll return next Monday after what is going to be yet another monumental weekend in Scottish football. Mark, thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next week.